I'm going to bring in senior business correspondent Christine Romans now to break down what all this means for American consumers.
Yeah, this is exactly what the president has been promising, an aggressive stance against countries he feels are ripping off the United States. You're talking about a 10% baseline tariff on all imports crossing U.S. borders, crossing ports coming into the United States. That's the baseline. That would start April 5th at 12:01 a.m. And then on top of that, higher tariffs for about 60 countries that he calls the worst offenders. That would bring a tariff rate to 49% to Cambodia, 46% Vietnam. You can see it on your screen there. 20% for the European Union and 10% that baseline tariff for the UK. The president calling these kind reciprocal tariffs because he says that he's just going to charge half of whatever their tariffs and non-tariff barriers are to the U.S. to try to send this message. He says that the United States has been ripped off. He's also declaring a state of emergency here, a national emergency, and saying that he wants to reindustrialize the United States after decades of bad trade deals that have hollowed out, he says, the American factory sector. One senior White House official telling reporters this afternoon, this is not a negotiation. For all those people who are saying, is this just the president negotiating with other countries? This senior official saying it's not a negotiation, it's a national emergency. This will be money coming into American coffers.
All right, the president about to sign an executive order. We assume it's the one covering everything we've talked about here. But let me ask you about these other countries now. Is the U.S. now bracing and expecting retaliation on this trade war?
Some of these countries, like Canada, have promised retaliation. We haven't really heard from Mexico. The EU has promised very specific retaliation. And some of that you can tie it right back to Republican districts, right, where some of these senators will really feel the producers in their states will think bourbon, think pork, think soybeans, think a lot of these things that American farmers really rely on and manufacturers, also motorcycles, blue jeans, lots of different things. Those retaliations are expected to start in the middle of the month. That's what trade wars are, right? Someone puts on a tariff, someone fires back, and then all of a sudden prices are rising for everyone across the supply chain.
Yeah, Christine, these things are easy to get into. Talking about trade wars, they are difficult to get out of.
They really are. And, when we had tariffs on the first Trump administration, it was a low inflation environment, and they were targeted tariffs. There were about a dozen categories. This is widespread across the board, big percentages. It will be disruptive to the global trading system. And in a matter of days, you will have Customs and Border Protection. These customs agents and customs officials will have to start taking in this extra revenue. There are companies who have ordered goods that are on a container in the ocean right now. It will cost more next week when it lands. That can be very disruptive to business. So we'll see how it plays out.
We saw that long list, I believe 6 pages the president held up of what these reciprocal tariffs will look like. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.